Welcome to Glorious Life on Wheels. Today I'm going to be talking about a subject that is dear to my heart, and that is seniors. Seniors across this country are angry. Excuse my language, but I would go so far as to say they are really, really pissed off. Based on my travels and speaking to thousands of seniors over the last few years, I think I have a good understanding as to why they're feeling the way they do. And in this video, I'm going to explore some of those feelings and tell you why I think that anger is justified. I'm going to also share how I don't think it starts out as anger, but something else, and then develops into anger. And I'm going to give a personal example in my life to demonstrate that. So come on, let's go chat, shall we? As I said at the beginning, I am going to share an example from my life that I think illustrates the point that I'm trying to make. It may not seem like it's connected at all to the topic, but it is. Just stay with me and I'm going to connect the dots and show you how it is. All right, well, a while back, there was a situation in which my daughter was in harm's way. Someone who I considered a friend was present and observed the potential harm to my daughter and did not intervene. They weren't in a situation where they had to put themselves in danger or there was any harm that could have come to them by intervening, but they failed to do so. They also failed to notify me in a timely manner so I could have intervened. And I was readily available to be present or to make myself available to intervene. And they failed to notify me, as I said, in a timely manner. I was really angry. I mean, really angry. And they're no longer in my circle of friends. But some months after this situation, I ran across this person. And they asked me, "Are you still angry with me?" Because I made them aware. And once I found out about what had happened, I made them very clearly aware of how angry I was with them. And they offered some flimsy excuse. I mean, it was just ridiculous as to why they didn't intervene. But anyhow, I let them know I was angry, and they wanted to know if I was still harboring anger towards them. And my response was yes, very. But after they left, I thought about it because they caught me off guard. I didn't expect them to ask me that question. I didn't expect them to say anything to me. And I realized that what I was feeling was not anger. At this point, I would have answered them and said, "No, I'm not angry, but I'm still profoundly disappointed." And I thought about that later, and I thought, that disappointment really stemmed from unfulfilled expectations. In other words, my expectations of what they should do as a friend did not happen, which then led to me being disappointed in them, which then led to my anger. And I think that is what has happened to the thousands of seniors that I've encountered who are angry, and ones that I hear about all the time or see on the news who are so angry. So let me connect the dots here for you. In this country, there are millions of seniors. In my age bracket, 70s, some older, some younger. But generally speaking, we have played by the rules. And what I mean by that is, we were told, go to school, graduate high school, at least at the time when I was growing up. Maybe go to college, get a good job, work hard, be a good worker, be, dependable. And after, 40, 50 years, whatever time, there may not be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, but there will be a comfortable life. So we bought into that. We did what we were told we were supposed to do. We got jobs. We were steady workers. We sometimes were able to save a little bit, but we were dependable, the salt of the earth, I think you could call us. And so many have gotten to the point now where they're supposed to be retired, and because of the circumstances around them, which they have no control over, Many of these same seniors who have worked so hard their entire lives are at a point now where they recognize they're never going to be able to stop working. They're going to work till they drop. They're going to be carried out from their jobs, probably on a stretcher. And they're angry. And I think justifiably so. Are you in that category where you are realizing now you'll never be able to stop working? If so, could you make a comment about it in the comment section of this video and let us know how you feel about that? But in addition to that, no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or no comfortable life, I should say, at the end of the rainbow. Now, seniors, even those who did retire, they're finding that as they're more and more into retirement, or longer and longer, I should say, into retirement, their Social Security is not coming anywhere close to catching up or even keeping pace with the level of inflation or increase in cost of things. You know, you may have 9-10% inflation and a meager Social Security goes up a tiny bit, and then when that goes up, the cost of Medicare is raised commensurate to that. So basically you don't get any raise, plus you're taxed on that additional amount of income. So it just is, it's like, you know, a gerbil on a wheel going round and round. And even people who sacrificed and did what was considered really the American dream when I was growing up, owning your own home, home ownership. That's the way to go. If you own your own home, you know, no one can take it away from you and you'll be set for life. Well, I encountered a woman in Quartzsite last year, and she's someone I had known before, and she owned her own home. It was paid off. But when I met her in Quartzsite last year, she was living in an RV that she had bought. And I asked her, well, what happened? You know, because I knew that she loved having her own home and she liked just going out occasionally in her RV, getting with friends in Quartzsite and going back home. And she was telling me, she said, you know, I just couldn't keep up with it. The taxes on her house had gone up so that her tax bill was more than her mortgage was when she was paying off her loan on her house. So when you combined the tax bill plus the cost of maintenance, she needed a new roof, labor has gone out of sight, materials, as we know, during COVID just went insane, and they really haven't come back down to the pre-COVID levels. So she said, I couldn't afford the maintenance on the house. And you know, a 40 or 50-year-old house or older is going to need some maintenance and repairs. She said, I just couldn't do the repairs. I couldn't keep up with the maintenance, and I couldn't keep up with the taxes. So despite the fact that she had a paid off home, she could no longer afford her paid off home. Then you have people who have medical issues. A friend of mine, Chef Santa, one of his medications alone is $1,000 a month. Now, this isn't just some medication that the doctor thought, well, let's try this, you know, and see how, if it might help this ailment or that. No, this is a life-saving medication. He needs this to stay alive. So many seniors are in that situation. Well, in Chef Santa's case, God was so good. The pharmaceutical company has agreed to provide that medication for him free of charge through the end of the year. But there are so many others that haven't had that blessing. And they have to make choices between literally eating and having medications. I mean, it's crazy. Then you have people who are told, well, go down and sign up for low-income housing, the Section 8 program, get on the list. Well, the list in many areas isn't even open. And once you get on the list, if they open it, maybe years before they open it, it could be 10 years before your name is even called. 10 years. What are you supposed to do in that 10-year interim? I mean, it's just insane. And even food banks, some of the food banks in this area, they have reduced their hours. They have closed down the days that they're open. Instead of being open 5 days a week, some of them now are only open 2. Instead of being open for maybe 6 hours a day, maybe they're only open for 3. So resources are being depleted. There's less and less for seniors to avail themselves to who need help. So yeah, I understand that anger. So you have seniors who had expectations and they're just beyond disappointed, like I was in my friend, that those reasonable expectations are not being met. And then that turns into anger. And then that anger, if it's not resolved, turns into bitterness, which then results in a person living a life of quiet desperation, bitter, and often alone. Because when someone is bitter, people don't generally want to be around them. Because I don't know if you're like me, but when I go around someone who is just so angry and so bitter about everything that's happened in their life, after I leave them from being with them for a period of time, I just feel like I'm so low. I have to really pump myself back up. It just depletes me. And at a time when a person needs others the most, that's when they're abandoned because people can't take being around that level of despair and bitterness. So I don't know what the answer is. I really wish I did have the answer. But if some of you have some suggestions, leave them in the comments, will you? But I know that we need to honor our seniors. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a senior, but a culture that doesn't honor and provide for their seniors is a culture that I think is not destined to be successful long term. But anyhow, let me know what you think. I love each and every one of you, and I pray your journeys are filled with joy and blessings. Till next time, see you guys.